hinaon sa adlaw-adlaw?
Dukot. Dukot. Ha? Dukot. Dukot.
Unsa man gilungag sa inyo ha or nang pinangayon?
Sa gitna ng pag-unlad at industrialisasyon ng syudad sa mga naglalakihang istruktura, may lugar na patuloy na humaharap sa mga suliranin at hamon na hanggang ngayon ay nararanasan pa rin ng karamihan. Isa sa mga pangunahing isyu na nanatiling seryoso at malala sa bansa, ang malnutrisyon. Isang tahimik ngunit malupit na laban na araw-araw hinaharap ng mga pamilya, mga anak at ina, lalo na pagdating sa kalusugan ng mga bata at ang patuloy na pagtiis sa gutom. Sa likod ng kanilang mga ngiti ay ang kwento ng kahirapan, kakulangan sa pagkain at polusyong unti-unting kumikitil sa kanilang kinabukasan. Bumiyahe ang aming grupo sa Ermita at Pasil, mga lugar sa syudad ng Cebu, kung saan kilala sa mga madilim na kwento ng buhay. Barong-barong na nagsisiksikan, kahirapan at tila walang katapusan at ang mga bata na kalusugan ang pangunahing naaapektuhan. Ang malnutrisyon ay hindi lamang simpleng kakulangan sa pagkain. Ito'y isang matinding kalaban kung saan ang kondisyon ng isang katawan, lalo na sa mga bata, ay unti-unting humihina dahil sa kakulangan ng sapat na tamang nutrisyon. Sa datos na inilabas ng National Nutrition Council Region 7 ngayong 2025, may bahagyang pagbuti, ngunit hindi maikakaila ang patuloy na pangangailangan. Sa buong Central Visayas, bumaba man ang antas ng stunting o chronic malnutrition mula 7.2% noong 2023 sa 6.7% ngayong 2024, nananatili pa rin itong hamon sa kalusugan ng kabataan. Sa buong lalawigan ng Cebu, tinatayang nasa 3.5% ng mga batang wala pang 5 taong gulang ang apektado ng stunting. Halos 9,725 na hindi na aabot ang tamang taas at timbang. Bumaba rin ang bilang ng mga underweight na bata sa rehiyon mula 3.2% noong 2023 tungo sa 3.0% ngayong 2024 o katumbas ng 17,229 batang kulang sa timbang. Sa unang hakbang pa lamang namin sa lugar, tila ba isang mabigat na realidad ang sumalubong sa amin. Makipot ang mga daan, siksikan ang mga tao, at ang amoy ng paligid ay sumasalamin sa kahirapan. Sa bawat hakbang, mas lalo namin nararamdaman ang bigat ng katotohanan hindi madalas na ipapakita. Sa aming pagpapatuloy, isa-isang lumitaw ang mga batang tila hinulog ng gutom at kakulangan. Payat, marurungis, at bakas sa kanilang mga mata ang pangungulila sa kalinga at nutrisyon. Isa sa mga sandaling tumimo sa aming puso ay ang pagkakita namin sa ilang bata na sama-sama kumakain ng tuslubuwa. Masaya sila sa maliit na pagkain, ngunit bilang mga tagamasid, ramdam naming iyon ay kulang. Kulang sa sustansya.
Mga unsa niyo daglingan na?
Sa gitna ng init at kaba, nagpatuloy kaming tumungo sa lugar na karamihan ng bata ay naglalaro at abala sa kanilang ginagawa. Hindi maitatanggi na ang kanilang inosenteng buhay ay alam na ang hirap sa mundong kanilang ginagalawan. At nakilala naman ng isang batang babae na itago na lang natin sa pangalang Ann.
Mag-vitamins mo, day. Mag-vitamins ka? Ano man?
Paglapit namin sa baybayin, bumungad sa amin ang napakaduming tubig sa dagat, ang mga batang walang suot at mga katawang ehemplo ng malnutrisyon. Mga batang nakakubli sa paningin ng nakakarami. At dito namin napagtanto na marami pa sila na dapat mabigyan ng pansin. Lumapit kami upang pakinggan ang kanilang mga kwentong puno ng hirap at pag-asang makatawid, makakain sa araw-araw na buhay. Sa simpleng pakikinig, naramdaman namin ang bigat ng malnutrisyon at kung paano ito unti-unting inuubos ang kanilang sigla, ang kanilang malusog na kabataan at ang pag-asang makaalpas sa kahirapan.
Unsa imong kinaon sa adlaw-adlaw? Unsa man gilungag sa inyo ha or nang pinangayo? Kapila man ka makakaon sa kadlaw, katulo ka. Kagabi ra siya makakaon.
Tinungo din ng aming grupo ang isa sa mga lungsod ng Cebu, ang munisipalidad ng Tabualan. Binyahe at inakyat namin ang isang maliit na komunidad sa bukid upang alamin ang mga pamilya at mga batang biktima ng malnutrisyon. Upang mas lumalim pa ang aming kaalaman tungkol sa problemang ito, nagsagawa kami ng panayam patungkol sa kanilang pagkain, bitamina at kung paano hinaharap ng kanilang mga barangay ang laban sa malnutrisyon.
So, may hapon te. Among pangutanan dire te ang tuyo ra syud kay mahita mi og kanang kanami makabaw kung unsay mga kondisyon sa mga bata diri nga gagmay. So, pangutanan ko te pila ka buok yung anak? Ay pila ka makakaon siya sa usa ka adlaw te. Kakaton. Sobra.
Makakaon naman sa tulo sa usa ka adlaw at
Regular iyang vitamins te or na ba siya gitake vitamins?
pinsang duha. Wala. Vitamins ba sila?
Ang sentro dire te kay kanang permi mo makakanang pa-check sa yung bata dito. Like kanang na-immunize ba dyan siya pag paanak niya na ang
Kanang regular in yung kanang adto sa sentro, kanang like check up. Kanang nabe sila like regular nga check up dito sa sentro kanang ilang timbang, ilang mataguan.
Kasi yung pagkakas sa mga malnourished na mga bata.
Amo idea kay amo mag-feeding me every 3 months or every 6 months.
Yeah, dagan ang case dili sa malnutrition dili sa inyong area gid.
Sa kuang area duha ra ka po.
Yeah, kanang sa ninyong pagit di kana like every month or every week magpakaon mo nila sa mga bata.
Every month.
Every month magpakaon.
Ang karanasang nakuha namin sa isang probinsya sa Cebu ay naunawaan namin ang mas malalim na katotohanan. Hindi lamang iisa o iilang lugar ang hinahagupit ng malnutrisyon. May mga bahagi pa ng Cebu at maging sa buong Pilipinas na tahimik na dumaranas ng ganitong krisis. Mga lugar na hindi agad nabibigyan ng pansin, ngunit nangangailangan ng agarang pagtugon. Ito ang realidad ng malnutrisyon, hindi lang bilang datos kundi bilang buhay na nararamdaman araw-araw ng libu-libong Pilipino. Sa simpleng panayam at pakikinig, nakita namin na ang laban kontra malnutrisyon ay laban nating lahat. At kung hindi tayo kikilos ngayon, kailan pa? Bawat batang lugmok sa gutom ay saksi sa isang sistemang patuloy na nagkakait ng pagkakataon. Habang tuloy ang pag-ikot ng mundo, nananatiling tanong kung kailan sila makakabangon. Hindi nila kailangan ng awa, kailangan nila ng boses, pagkilos at pagkalinga ng lipunan na dapat sanay kanilang sandigan. Ang bidyong ito ay hindi lamang ginawa para sa pagtupad ng isang takdang aralin. Sa halip, itinuring ito ng aming grupo bilang isang pagkakataon, isang panawagan upang ilapit ang aming sarili sa harap ng isang isyong matagal na hindi nabibigyan ng pansin. Sa pagharap namin sa masakit na katotohanan, unti-unti naming nabuksan ang aming mga mata at pinanday ang lakas ng loob upang makiisa sa pag-asa na malabanan ang malnutrisyon.
Good day, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Today, I'll be talking about a very important and urgent issue that continues to affect millions of Filipinos, especially children, and that is malnutrition. Our discussion is titled Feeding the Silence, the Malnutrition Story, because for many families in our country, hunger and poor nutrition have become part of everyday life, often unseen, unheard, and sadly untreated. As you saw in the video earlier, it was truly disheartening to witness children suffering from hunger and the visible effects of malnutrition. It's harsh reality that we can no longer ignore. Now let's begin by understanding what malnutrition really means. According to World Health Organization, malnutrition refers to deficiencies, excesses, or imbalances in a person's intake of energy and nutrients. In simpler terms, it's either not getting enough nutrients or getting too much of the wrong ones. It is categorized into two main types. First, we have undernutrition, which includes wasting or being too thin for one's height, stunting or being too short for one's age, underweight, low weight for age, and micronutrient deficiencies like lack of iron, vitamin A, or iodine. Second, there is overnutrition, which includes overweight and obesity. These are caused by eating too much energy-rich food like processed snacks, sugary drinks, and fast food. This also increases the risk of non-communicable diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart problems. Now let's look at the current situation in the Philippines according to the 2021 Expanded National Nutrition Survey or ENNS by the Department of Science and Technology, Food and Nutrition Research Institute or DOST-FNRI. 26.7% of Filipino children under 5 years old are stunted, meaning they are too short for their age, indicating chronic malnutrition. 5.5% of children are wasted or too thin for their height, reflecting acute malnutrition, and 18.8% are underweight or a condition resulting from both chronic and acute undernutrition. At the same time, overnutrition is becoming more common. The same survey reports that 14% of children aged 5 to 10 are overweight or obese. Among Filipino adults, obesity and disease like diabetes and hypertension are steadily increasing, mainly due to poor diet and sedentary lifestyle. The World Bank has also reported that 1 in every 3 Filipino children under 5 is stunted, which is a strong indicator of chronic malnutrition. And in 2022, UNICEF Philippines revealed that around 95 Filipino children die every day from malnutrition-related causes, and 27 out of every 1,000 children did not live to see their 5th birthday. These are heartbreaking statistics that show how severe the problem really is. Malnutrition is most severe in regions with high poverty levels and limited access to healthcare and education. These includes the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, Eastern Visayas, and other parts of Mindanao. These areas consistently show the highest rates of undernutrition in the country. As we've seen through national data, malnutrition is not just about hunger. It's about inequality, lack of access, and the urgent need for long-term solutions to protect the future of Filipino children.
Moving on to the 3 causes of malnutrition, the first one is the immediate, the second is the underlying, and the third one is the basic. For the first one, these are the immediate causes and the factors such as the inadequate dietary intake and diseases that affects directly the nutrition. The second is the underlying causes, which are the environmental causes such as the inadequate care and feeding practices, the unhealthy household environment, and limited health services. And lastly is the basic causes such as the lack of education, poverty and lack of resources, political and economic instability. And these are the effects of malnutrition. It weakens immune system, it causes poor growth in children and problems with body organs, and it also slows healing of cuts and wounds.
Now, let's talk about the important concepts, definition, and terminologies that aid in the understanding about the issue of malnutrition. First is diet. So diet refers to the specific way, habit, or level of consuming food and nutrients that help support proper growth and development. So we should always remember that diet is just about losing weight. It's the overall way or system of how we eat every day. It's the kind of food and the amount we eat to help us grow properly, have energy, and to stay strong and healthy. Next is malnutrition. Malnutrition is a broad term referring to deficiencies, excesses, or imbalance in a person's intake of energy and or nutrients, impacting health and well-being. So it means that our body isn't getting the right nutrients it needs. This can be because we are not eating enough, we're eating too much, or we're not getting the right balance of things. It affects our health and how we live well. For example, ang bata who only eats instant noodles every day, do you think na bata is having gets the right nutrient and the minerals they need for their body? Well, definitely no. So they might be getting enough calories to feel full, but they are likely missing important vitamins and minerals in their body. Undernutrition. Undernutrition is a result from adequate intake of energy and or nutrients. This happens when we constantly eat gagmay ra na kaayo ng mga foods or food that doesn't have enough nutrients. This has different forms: wasting, stunting, underweight, and lastly, micronutrient deficiencies. So wasting is when someone is very thin for their height. It usually happens quickly because they haven't been eating enough recently or maybe naa sila yung mga sakit. Next is stunting. This is when a child is mabora for their age. So this is usually happens over a long time because they haven't had enough food while were growing up. It's often linked to poverty and not getting good care early on. Next, underweight. So underweight is just mean that someone na ilang timbang is obos sa ilang normal na edad. So it can be because of they are wasted, stunted, or both. It's a general sign that something isn't right with their nutrition. And lastly is micronutrient deficiency. So micronutrient deficiency is when someone seems to be eating enough food, they might still be lacking important vitamins and minerals like iron, iodine, or vitamin A. So even if someone eats a lot of kanon, they might still feel tired easily, look pale if they don't get enough iron from foods like liver or dark leafy greens. Another example is a lack of iodine, which can sometimes lead to greater or kanang moborot ang imuhang liog. So ang kana silang mga kulang sa mga important vitamins and minerals bisan pa og murag igo ra ang ilahang gikaon. On the other hand is overnutrition. So this one is the opposite of undernutrition. If ang undernutrition is nagkulang, ang overnutrition is nagsobra. It means we're taking too much nutrients. So this is when we eat sobra-sobra na kaayo ng mga foods, especially foods high in calories, unhealthy fats, sugar, or salt. This can lead to being underweight or obese, and it can also cause another health problems like diabetes or heart diseases.
Now let us proceed to the terms that can somehow be linked to the condition malnutrition. First, we have the disease-related malnutrition. It occurs when an individual's nutritional status deteriorates due to the effects of a disease or injury. This type of malnutrition can be chronic or acute. Now, when we say, let's try to differentiate between chronic and acute. When we say chronic, it is a condition that develops slowly and lasts for a long time, and often months or years. Then, for some of the examples of chronic diseases, we have the diabetes, the hypertension, we also have arthritis. Next, we have the acute. When we say acute, it's quite the opposite of chronic. It's because it happens suddenly and usually lasts for a short period, but it can be severe. Now, what are the examples of acute diseases? We have asthma attack, we have appendicitis, and we also have flu. Now, let us talk about the people with Crohn's disease, or what we call the ulcerative colitis. It is a type of gut disease, and then it can often have a hard time absorbing nutrients from food, even they eat properly. So they also may have like diarrhea and stomach pain, which make it harder for them to eat enough and to contain enough nutrients that can lead to malnutrition. Now, what are examples of people with Crohn's disease? We have for example, naibatan-on nga Crohn's disease nga kanang mukaon siya regularly but still becomes underweight because their body doesn't absorb vitamins and enough minerals well. And also, the second example is when an adult with ulcerative colitis avoids eating during flare-ups because of stomach cramps and frequent diarrhea, which leads to nutrient deficiency. In simple terms, it's because of how they experience often sa pagsakit sa tiyan, kay wala sila gana mukaon, di sila makakontain of enough food and nutrients. Now let us talk about some of the conditions that can somehow also lead to malnutrition. First, we have what we call the eating satiety. It is a feeling of full from containing a food very quickly, and even though the food that they had or they contained is just small amount of food, and then this can make it hard to eat enough and may lead to weight loss or malnutrition. It's because they lack with the nutrients and the minerals from that food. And also we have what we call the nausea. Nausea, it is a queasy or sick feeling in the stomach, like after eating kay kana makafeel ka nga kanang makasukaon ka, and that these conditions may somehow lead to malnutrition. Now let us delve into the types of malnutrition or some of the conditions that can be associated with this issue. First, we have what we call the edema. It is a swelling caused by excess fluid trapped in the body's tissues that can be a sign of severe malnutrition. So think of it ang edema is when there's swelling in your body because of too much fluid. This can be a sign of a severe malnutrition, especially a type of kwashiorkor. Example, naadoy bata nga na kwashiorkor might have a swollen face and feet that even though they look thin overall. So here's an example or a visual example of edema. The second one is what we call the kwashiorkor. It is a form of severe malnutrition characterized by edema, irritability, anorexia, and skin lesions often associated with insufficient protein intake. So kwashiorkor is a type of malnutrition where a child often has swelling, dali ra kaayo masuko, walay gana mukaon, and might have skin problems. Now, this picture shows that the condition can be linked to not getting enough protein. Next, we have the marasmus. Marasmus is also a form of severe acute malnutrition characterized by severe wasting of muscle and fat tissue resulting from severe energy deficiency. Now, a child with marasmus looks extremely thin, almost like skin and bones now. They're perceived as very weak and look for their age. Now, here's a visual example of marasmus.
First, we have the Philippine Plan of Action for Nutrition. It is a strategic framework developed by the National Nutrition Council, or NNC, which aims to reduce all forms of malnutrition across all stages by promoting healthier diets, better practices, and improved access to quality nutrition services. The PPAN has three key objectives. First, combat stunting. They aim to reduce the prevalence of stunted growth in children under 5 years old, addressing malnutrition and promoting healthy growth and development. Second, reducing obesity. They aim to decrease the prevalence of overweight and obesity among Filipinos, mitigating the risk of diet-related diseases. Lastly, increase micronutrient intake. They aim to improve the consumption of essential vitamins and minerals, addressing micronutrient deficiencies and promoting overall health and well-being. These three key objectives aim to improve the nutritional status of Filipinos, particularly vulnerable populations, and reduce the burden of malnutrition and related health problems. The second project is the Philippine Multisectoral Nutrition Project. This is a 4-year project spearheaded by the DSWD and DOH that will support the adoption of a multisectoral nutrition approach to deliver a packaged nutrition-specific and nutrition-sensitive interventions together with social behavior change and communication strategy across various platforms of local government units or LGU in the country. PNNP has three components. First, strengthen delivery of nutrition and primary health services. This aims to enhance the provision of essential nutrition and health services, particularly in underserved areas, to improve health outcomes. Second, community-based nutrition service delivery and multisectoral nutrition convergence. This aims to engage communities and multiple sectors such as health, agriculture, and education to deliver nutrition services and promote convergence of efforts to address malnutrition. And lastly, institutional strengthening, monitoring and evaluation, and communication. These aim to build capacity, monitors progress, and communicates effectively to ensure the project's success, accountability, and sustainability.
In addition, the two important government programs focus on improving child nutrition in the Philippines, the DOST Pinoy Strategy and PhilHealth's SAM Outpatient Therapeutic Care Benefit Package. Let's start with DOST Pinoy, which stands for Package for the Improvement of Nutrition of Young Children. This is part of the Malnutrition Reduction Program by DOST FNRI. It mainly targets children aged 6 months to below 3 years old by providing rice mungo based complementary foods and nutrition education for mothers and caregivers. These foods are rich in energy and protein and are developed through science based food technology. There are three key food blends under DOST Pinoy. First is rice mungo blends rich in protein and energy. Second, growth mixes fortified with vitamin A, iron, iodine, zinc, and folic acid. And third is ready-to-use sachets using fruits and vegetables. For example, in a barangay in Iloilo, mothers participated in feeding sessions and nutrition seminars. After a few months, their children's weight improved significantly, showing the program's effectiveness in reducing undernutrition. Now, moving on to a more critical intervention, PhilHealth's Outpatient Therapeutic Care Benefit Package for Severe Acute Malnutrition, or SAM. With support from the UNICEF, this benefit covers treatment for children suffering from severe wasting and malnutrition. Families can now receive 7,500 pesos for children aged 0 to 6 months and 17,000 pesos for those 6 to 16 months old. This is the first time such care is included in our national health system. So the benefit package offers medical care, therapeutic foods and hygiene counseling, regular follow-up home visits, referrals to inpatient care if needed. So example of that is in Tondo, Manila, a 2-year-old severely underweight child was enrolled in this program. After several weeks of treatment, including therapeutic feeding and home visits, the child gained weight and was no longer classified as severely malnourished. To conclude, both the DOST Pinoy and PhilHealth's SAM package are working hand in hand to reduce malnutrition in the country. One focuses on prevention and the other on treatment. By combining science, health services, and community education, we can give Filipino children a better, healthier start in life.